Good morning, Hebrew Israelite family. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the one that is the most high and above all things, and has all time in his hand and has us in his hand. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to Messiah, the King of Israel. Glory and honor to Messiah, the high priest and intercessor for Israel. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Messiah. Greetings to the 12 tribes awakening, coming to the Father, those that are receiving the message of truth in perfect righteousness from the Father through Messiah, those also that are coming in and being grafted into the olive tree of the true Israelite people and having been received of the true Israelite people and having received the true Israelite people are being prepared with us to inherit the kingdom that the Messiah will soon take. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh and to Messiah. Greetings to the children of Israel. Greetings to the chat. Sister Josie and Brother Frank, Delivery Boy 347, Brother Superstar, Brother Gary Joseph, Listen to Your Body, Sister Daniel, Stephen Kelly, Sister Jillian, see you real soon. Brother Yafi, greetings to all of you. Sister Odyssey, greetings to all of you. Where's Akawan Banya? Brandon Beckman, greetings to you. Castle King, greetings to you, brother, and to your beautiful family. I don't see Akawan Banya. I usually see him early. I'm going to be looking for him. All right. Brother Two Shots Pronto, praise the Most High. Sister Heather, good morning. Praise the Most High. Everybody's filling in now as we're getting ready to start here. We are studying the Gospel of John. And we're in chapter 12 today. We just finished 11 chapters of the Gospel of John. Shabbat Shalom, Jado. And we're in chapter 12. And of course, generally speaking, I just want to say this. Any place that we study in the Bible, and we've studied a lot of places. We did Genesis. We did Deuteronomy. We did Isaiah, Jeremiah, Zechariah. We've done all of that. We did Ezekiel. Of course, Revelation we do every year. We've done Romans and Galatians and now John. We've done Matthew before. We've done all of these scriptures we have done and did study. Okay, Two Shots. We could do that today if you want to. Today is a good day. Email me or text me on our text and in our chat, and we can make arrangements. All right. Where was I? Oh, so any place that we study, brethren, involves prophecy. And as we talked about before, the Bible says the testimony of the Messiah is the spirit of prophecy. And this means that the Messiah bears witness as to the Father's words. Again, Revelation 1:1, the revelation of Messiah YHWH, which Father Yah gave unto him, to show unto his servants things that must shortly come to pass. So the Father is the origin of what's coming in the future. Because no being in the universe knows the end from the beginning like the Creator. The Creator bears his word to his Son, Messiah. Messiah bears witness of that word, which is a prophetic word, to the servants. So that the testimony that Messiah gives is the manifestation of what the Father has shared with him. I want to make sure you understand that. So the Messiah does not ever speak of his own. He speaks what he gets from his Father. And what he gets from his Father is prophecy, and it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's for his chosen ones. Okay? Starting with the children of Israel and also those beings that have also been called to be grafted into the olive tree of Israel, which are not of the bloodline, but grafted into the bloodline. Okay. because they receive Israel and they receive the nation's king, who is Messiah. And of course, in receiving Israel and in receiving the nation's king, they are also receiving the Father. Okay, so we have every place we study involves prophetic utterance in the Bible. And all prophecy, whether it's something that already took place, for example, the destruction of Jerusalem and the captivity in Babylon, or whether it's something that's going to come in the future, such as the new Jerusalem being set on planet Earth and the restitution of the planet Earth, it all has to do with us. Everything is related to us. And that's going to be hard for non-believers to understand, but I don't care what non-believers understand. My mission, as I always say, is to point the people that the Most High has ordained to hear what he put in my mouth to the Father and to the Father's word. I am not successful unless that happens. Okay? Unless that happens. So we seek to do that so that you and all others can be receptors of the spirit of prophecy. So just with that in mind, as we've been looking at John, and again, you can go back to any of the studies this ministry has done, and we will always point to our time and how the prophecies we are looking at relate to us. Because the Father has given us all things. We are the last generation on planet Earth before the establishment of the kingdom. We are the last generation before the kingdom is established. Now, as we're going to look in chapter 12 of the Gospel of John, as we're going to look at that, we're going to understand certain things. That the Messiah did not come to earth, as he said he did. He said, I came from heaven. He did not come from heaven, from the presence of the Father, into the earth to establish the Israelite kingdom right away. He came to set the stage for the cleansing of his people, that we might be prepared to be inhabitants of the kingdom. It was the first step in the process of perfecting the nation, the manifestation of the Messiah. It was the first step in the process of perfecting the nation. The second step would come, as we know, in the book of Acts on the day of Pentecost, where the Messiah would take with him saints that were the first fruits of his victory over sin and death. Okay? And that's what Pentecost is. It is the feast of the first fruits. The feast of the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread, which is one, is a feast. The unleavened has to do with putting away sin, and the sacrifice of the blood, which is also from, of course, Egypt and the Passover, is representing the blood of Messiah that covers his people and gained them victory over sin and death also. Okay, again, it wasn't because we earned the right to be passed over. It was because we had the belief in the word of the Father that we would be under the blood. And the blood caused us to be passed over. See? So, this was the first step in that, which is why when the disciples asked Messiah, wilt thou at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. He said, it's not for you to know the times and the seasons which the Father has in his power. So the first stage was for the Messiah to become trained as Hebrews. Let's take a look at Hebrews. I know that's when I say trained, it might trigger. So let's look at Hebrews, because we just, of course, as you know, we just finished our study of Hebrews. But let's take a look at Hebrews chapter 5. Hebrews chapter 5. Going to begin in Hebrews chapter 5. And going to begin at verse 1 in Hebrews chapter 5 and going down to verse 9. Hebrews chapter 5 from verse 1 to 9. For every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in things pertaining to Yahweh, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way? For that he himself also is compassed with infirmity. And by reason hereof, he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. And no man taketh this honor unto himself, but he that is called of Yahweh, as was Aaron. So also Messiah glorified not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, Thou art my son, today have I begotten thee. As he said also in another place, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared, though he were a son, yet he learned obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him. Verse 10, called of Yahweh, a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Now, being made perfect, somebody would say, well, wasn't Messiah perfect upon birth? We're not talking about perfection in terms of moral character. This is where people get confused. What is the subject matter? The subject matter we're studying is what makes a high priest. That's what chapter 5 is about. What makes a high priest? So that Messiah had to go through an experience to learn what would make the perfect high priest. Does that make sense, y'all? He had to go through an experience. So having gone through the experience, the Bible says he was made perfect. Perfect what? The perfect high priest. So that he lived, of course, a moral perfect life of perfect righteousness that he manifests from his Father, but he became also the sacrifice for the sins of Israel. And in becoming that sacrifice, this is why I was emotional yesterday when it said he wept and when Miriam came to him, because now he is personally feeling all the hurt his people feel. Miriam had gone through the dregs of society. See, as Messiah didn't put his trust in man because he knew what was in man, Miriam knew from personal experience what was in man. She knew through them fancy robes that them high priests wore what kind of men they really were. And so when Messiah came to her and cast demons out of her, she didn't care what anybody thought. She was all in on him. No matter what people thought, put out of the synagogue didn't mean nothing to her because she knew what was in man. See, and that's why even now, the people that are the closest to Messiah are the poorest, the ones that are the most suffering people. Because, especially among the Gentiles, because those Gentiles that have suffered at the hands of man know what's in man. Nobody has to give them some sort of a fakehood about how good men are, or the goodness of man, as the Ashkenazis like to say. They know better. So when perfect righteousness is presented before such ones, they grab it. And when it said this perfect righteousness is covering you, they're going to hold on to it because they know what it's like to feel dirty. They've been around dirt. They know dirty people. And so the offer of complete cleansing and of perfect righteousness is very important to them. Okay, very important. That's why it's better for the poor. It's easier for the poor to come because the poor have seen the bottom. The rich ain't seen the bottom like that. And if they had, when they became rich, they forgot about it. But the poor society, the ones that have suffered at the hands of what this kingdom of Babylon brings, they know, which is why the remnant of Israel also is important, because we have been especially since AD 70 to now. I mean, we talk about 400 years in the United States because the United States is the worst of the metal of iron in the statue. And it has been worse on us as Hebrews. So we know this 400 years has been rough. So nobody had to tell us what the white man is really like, in spite of him being self-deceived. We know what it really is about. Nobody has to tell us what the United States of America is really about. No, not the land of the free, because we ain't free. Not the home of the brave, because the people that hurt us ain't brave. We understand. And so when the Most High in his grace toward us showed us in his word, us, slave ships, chains, jail, and all, we cling to it. We cling to that righteousness because now all of the questions and all the confusion that our enemies brought to us is wiped away. And we got a clear view. We got a clear view of what the real deal is. So did Miriam. So Messiah, once this realization, this epiphany, this awakening takes place, he cares about his people more than anybody else. Don't listen to people talking about he loves everybody. No, he does not. Because he's going to throw some people in the lake of fire. But the people that have clung on to him and to his righteousness and to truth love him and his Father, and he cares about every pain, every disappointment. He cares deeply. And I mean, look, he wept. He did not weep because Lazarus was dead, as we talked about yesterday. He wept because his sister and his brothers was hurt. That's why he wept. That's how deep it is. And also, I want to make very plain, that's how strong his wrath's going to be when he comes back. For all these fake white Jesus Christians, you getting ready to get, not the humble lamb, you getting ready to get it. And you got it coming. And I don't feel sorry for y'all. And I'm telling you, the Most High and the Messiah love those that love truth and hate those that hate truth. There's a hate relationship between the Father and the devil. And if you're into lies, you're with the devil. And the only way any man can know the truth, or woman, is to ask the Creator. Don't ask me. Ask the Creator. If you will humble yourself to ask the Creator what truth is and to show it to you and be ready to walk in it, regardless of what you're being surprised at what you thought it was and it's not, you want his. He already knows those that belong to him because they're departing from iniquity through his righteousness. So the Messiah completed the first step in the mission in offering himself as the Passover lamb. Okay. Second step was his resurrection, which also are the first fruits of his victory over death. The third step is the Day of Atonement, where because of the first and second steps, Israel has all their sin removed. Israel has all their sin removed. That's the third step. The final step is the Feast of Tabernacles, where the Messiah claims those perfected saints that belong to him. You want to know how I know what time of year Messiah is going to return? In the autumn? Because that's what the Feast of Tabernacles is. That's where it comes. That's what it means. If you want to know how I know what year is coming, you got to look at the word. Somebody asked me, how do you know? And I gave him all the studies that we have done on the feasts, on Deuteronomy, on Revelation, on Daniel, to show it's 2032, baby. It's 2032. It's the fall of 2032. Yeah, I know. And just like we're going to read in John, where the so-called religious leaders who you would think would love the Heavenly Father want to kill his son because they really don't love the Heavenly Father. They love their position. They love their power. They love money. They love to control people. And that has not changed. That has not changed. See? So the people that belong to Messiah are going to reach to Messiah, and they're going to cling to him and to the righteousness of the Father. They're going to give thanks and praise. Nobody has to tell them to do it because they already experienced the real. Okay? And we praise the Most High, and we're trusting the Father to do what the word says. He that hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Messiah. Okay? Praise the Most High. So, brethren, that's why I was just telling my wife many times, I say, I'm not arguing with nobody on Facebook about what I believe. I don't care how much you laugh, because you know what? He who laughs last laughs best. And brethren, we going to have the last laugh. Praise the Most High. Those people that reject truth were never going to be the Father's people. The Father's people are going to receive the Father's truth. Okay? It's very simple. We are blessed to be able to present the Father's truth. But we don't care or not worried about or not manifesting any concern about, well, how many we going to get? We don't care. Because we know the ones that belong to him will receive the truth. That's all we need to know. The ones that belong to him receive the truth. The ones that reject him are never with us. Look, let me show you. This is John, 1 John, which is really, as you know, this is the same witness as Revelation, the same witness as the Gospel of John. This is 1 John. 1 John chapter 2. 1 John chapter 2. I'm going to begin at verse 17 and go from verse 17 down to verse 20. And the thing is, I always love whatever John is being used to write, because he brings the Spirit in a way that is powerful. Okay. And at the same time, not only is it powerful, but it's simple. It's not complicated. And I love uncomplications, because man makes life complicated. The Father makes life simple. The Bible says, Yah made man upright, but he has sought out many inventions. That said, the Yah made it simple, man makes it complicated. And you could always see it. You get one of these situations. Woman or man is looking for a partner, right? On whatever, one of those sites, right? And you ask relationship status. And you ever see this one? Not that I'm looking, but I know what's out there. You ever see this one? It's complicated. Instead of just saying single or married or divorced or separated, they say it's complicated. Guess what? Run away, run, go quick. Complicated means I'm messed up. I don't want to tell you how messed up I am until I can get you hemmed in. It's complicated. The Father ain't complicated. Instead of just saying, I committed adultery on my spouse and I'm divorced. No, it's complicated. Instead of just saying, I was a bad spouse. I really was, and I'm trying to change. And I want another change. No, it's complicated. It's complicated means I'm hiding stuff and making it complicated. Okay? Father don't make nothing complicated. No, he don't. It's simple. 1 John chapter 2, beginning at verse 17, going down to verse 20. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doth the will of Yahweh abideth forever. Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that anti-Messiah or Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists. See, this again, people are always looking at this one special man that's Antichrist. No, there's many Antichrists. If you're against Messiah, you're Antichrist. If you want to change Messiah to make him look like a European Gentile, you're Antichrist. Because he don't look like that. There are many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. Now look at verse 19. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. See, those that belong to the Father are going to stay with the Father. Those that don't, won't. Isn't that simple? And it's not on us. The Messiah said, no man can come to me except my Father draw him. We are instruments. We are the vessels that are blessed to be used in the process of bringing those to the Father that belong to him. And when we are blessed to be used to bring one to the Father, it's because that one was called by the Father before that one was born. Before the earth was even created, the Father knew who was his. And he uses us. We are just blessed vessels to be used to make manifest to those that belong to the Father's truth. Okay, that's all. He don't need us. He desires that we be partakers. Okay, praise the Most High. And those that belong to him, whether it's one or a million, he already know who they was. And they will be made manifest. Praise the Most High. So, here in chapter 12 of the Gospel of John, Messiah has already raised up Lazarus. Lazarus is sitting at the table with him now. And everybody's coming to look because this word, listen, man, there is no gossip factory. Not no gossip, the Star Tribune or whatever. That's like a religious organization. Religious organizations. Gossip moves faster than an email, faster than a phone call, faster than speed of light. Gossip move in religious organization. So it's like, but when you're not in religion, when you're in the Father, it's like what happened with Ananias and Sapphira, right? Ananias and Sapphira sold land and lied about how much they sold it for because they had pledged the land to the apostles. One of them came in, lied, dropped dead. Hours later, the other one came in and did not know what happened. Now, if they were a religion, the second one would have known already, would have heard, and would have come in and already knew, no, don't lie about this now. But no, because in the Father, in his spirit, there ain't no gossip. Ain't no gossip in the Father's spirit. Nobody in the Father's spirit is going to be involved with gossip because you're going to keep that to yourself because that's the way to handle business with discretion, right? But in religion, oh man, gossip travels fast. And so everybody heard about Lazarus. Everybody was coming there to see him because everybody heard he had been dead 4 days and was raised. And they were coming to see for themselves. Sad thing is, they weren't coming to see so that they can serve the Father. They were coming to see for curiosity. Curiosity ain't saving you. Whenever somebody says to me, I'm curious, why X, Y, and Z? And I say, I'm not here to satisfy your curiosity. Curiosity don't save nobody. Seekers of truth save people. People that are seekers of truth. Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. That's a seeker right there. They're not saying, where is he that so-called King of the Jews? We are curious as to see him. No, they ain't say that. They came to worship him. So people that are curious, can you answer this? I'm just curious. When you use that word with me, you just lost me. Curious about what? I'm not here to answer your curiosity, sir, ma'am. No. What you think? I'm like an object of your curiosity? Please. That's almost like trivial. We're not trivial. Go on with that. Praise the Most High. Gospel of John, chapter 12. Gospel of John, chapter 12. Yeah, I had a president tell me that, man. I'm curious. You curious? What that got to do with me? See, that's my problem. I'm too much Hebrew. I'm too much. I got very short fuse for certain things. That's one of them. You curious? Oh, you think I'm brought into existence to satisfy your curiosity? Like I'm a circus or something? Gospel of John, chapter 12. Gospel of John, chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. Gospel of John, chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. This is going to go into Miriam Magdalene and Simon. Simon was a Pharisee. His son was Judas. Okay? Judas was one of the 12. His father, Judas' father, was a Pharisee. Simon, who the Messiah healed of leprosy. See, so Simon had leprosy. He was a Pharisee that was a leper. Messiah healed him. And this former leper's son was one of the apostles. Okay? And it was this Simon that said, if this man were a prophet, after he got healed of leprosy now, if this man were a prophet, he would know what manner of woman this is that touches him. Read something else, aren't we? Gospel of John, chapter 12, from verse 1 down to verse 8. Then YHWH 6 days before the Passover. Now, what does that mean? 6 days before his sacrifice. Came to Bethany, where Lazarus, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served. But Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Miriam a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of YHWH, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? This, he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bare what was put therein. Then said YHWH, let her alone. Against the day of my burying has she kept this. For the poor always you have with you, but me ye have not always. So So he rebuked the brother, but he didn't do it in a mean way, right? He was actually, I thought he was being very fair, more than fair to the brother. And the brother gets all offended. And this is the thing, brethren. Unrepentant people get very offended. Let me give you an example. You ever tell certain Europeans about how they stole the United States, how they enslaved us, and how they are still oppressive, and they get mad at you? Have you ever seen that? They get mad at you. When you tell them the truth, they get all upset and they get real defensive, right? You know why? You know why? Because they're unrepentant. See, repentant people, somebody said to you, you just, I remember you a crackhead. You're going to say, yeah, I was. But the unrepentant one going to say, don't judge me. There's a difference, right? The person that was the alcoholic, oh, I remember you used that wine though. Yeah, I was. Versus, don't judge me. People always manifest who they really are. So when the Messiah said to Simon's son, the poor you have for you, and Simon's son Judas already knows he was a thief. But again, brethren, I mean, I've been in this situation. You're doing something wrong, and after a while, like you're doing something wrong, right? But then after a while, you start to justify what you're doing. Even though at the beginning you knew it was wrong, but you start to justify it, right? And then after a while, because you've been justifying yourself, it's not wrong no more, right? And so because you've been justifying yourself, it's not wrong no more. So now this is what happened with Judas. He's stealing. The people giving offerings for the Messiah's ministry, and this brother is stealing from it. And he got so used to stealing that, it wasn't wrong no more. See what I'm saying? It wasn't wrong no more because, oh man, I needed to do this because if I didn't do this, I had to do that. And then, man, I needed to do this. Right? So anyway, yeah. Praise the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So, brethren, exactly. He had brother said it right. He had real sticky fingers, didn't he? They ain't have no money left. And only Judas and the Messiah knew that. They ain't have no money left. The brother done cleaned them out. He done cleaned them out. And nobody knew but the Messiah and Judas. And the Messiah is being very patient with this fool. Being very patient with him. See? And he getting upset. Okay. So now, verse 9. Much people of the Jews, therefore, knew that he was there, and they came not for YHWH's sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also, can see the curious, whom he had raised from the dead. This was like a sight, like a circus, right? Never mind salvation. Never mind eternal life. Never mind glory to the Father. No, we want to see. Did it really happen? Wow. Verse 10. But the chief priests consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death, because that by reason of him, many of the Jews went away and believed on YHWH. Wow. Leaving no witnesses, right? What you think this is? Isn't that what Biggie said? Leave no witnesses. What you think this is, right? This was criminal. This was criminal. So these religious leaders were criminals. Now, of course, if you said that to them, they get all upset, right? Don't judge me. How dare you call me a criminal? Do you know I got my PhD in theology? How you gonna call me a criminal? See? So, brethren, here we are. And again, I ask you, Has anything changed 2,000 years later? Here we are 2,000 years later. Has anything changed? I don't think so. In fact, I would dare say it's gotten worse. Has it not? It's gotten worse. Okay, verse 12. On the next day, much people would come to the feast when they heard that YHWH was coming to Jerusalem, took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of Yahweh. Now that's a powerful statement, brethren. That's a powerful statement. Blessed, did they say the King of the Gentiles? They said, blessed is the King of Israel. Did they say did they leave out the Father? No, they said, blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of Father Yahweh. That when they say cometh in the name of the Lord, that's what he's talking about. So blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Father. Leaves everything in perfect alignment, doesn't it? There's Messiah, and he came in the name of his Father. There it is. There it is. He's not God. He came in the name of God, in the name of his Father. He didn't choose himself to come. Father say, I'm sending you. Praise the Most High. Father say, I'm sending you. Praise the Most High. Right there, right? Verse 14. And YHWH, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon. As it is written, fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh sitting on an ass's colt. These things understood not his disciples at the first. But when YHWH was glorified, then remembered they that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. Now, here's a test question. Ready? Where in the Bible does this prophecy take place? This is saying this is like a prophecy. Fear not, as it is written, it says. Well, when the Bible says it is written, that's Old Testament. There was no New Testament, right? So where in the Old Testament was this written? Bible students, I need y'all. Talk to me. Where in the Old Testament was this written? That's right, Zechariah. Thank you, brother Superstar. That's exactly right. Let's go. I think it's Zechariah chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check here. I think it's chapter 9. Let's double check and make sure we got this right. Let me see. Was it chapter 9? See, I could look that up, right? But I don't want to look it up because I should know it. This is why I'm so stubborn like that. I got to know this for myself. Let me see. Superstar, since you knew it, you also knew it. Praise the Most High. Okay, it is chapter 9. It's chapter 9, verse 9. Very good. Let's take a look at the original. Praise the Most High. Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. Yes. And let me see, where are we going to go? We're going to go from verse 9 to what? Hang on. We're going to go from verse 9. Oh, man. There's a lot here. Zechariah chapter 9, I'm going to start at verse 9. And I'm going to go down to verse 13. Okay, Zechariah chapter 9 from verse 9. Thank you, brother Superstar. From chapter 9, verse 9 to verse 13. Okay, here we go. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen. And his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from river even to the ends of the earth. So again, he's going to be king of Israel, but he's going to be the king of kings on planet earth. So he's going to rule planet earth in the name of his father. As for verse 11, as for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have set forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water, the pit being the grave. He set forth prisoners out of the grave. That's called resurrection. Y'all got that? He said, as for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein there is no water. Praise the Most High. Verse 12, turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. That's what he said we are, prisoners of hope. Praise the Most High. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee, when I have bent Judah for me and filled the bow with Ephraim and raised up the sons of Zion against thy sons, O Greece. Greece being who? And made thee as the sword of a mighty man. So wait. He said, I'm going to do what? He said, I'm going to raise up thy son Zion against thy sons, O Greece. That's right. Gog and Magog, the same Gentiles that the Bible talks about in Ezekiel, the same Gentiles that he talks about in Isaiah, the same Gentiles that he's talking about in Zechariah. Well, so much for white Jesus, huh? Praise the Most High. So he's saying this prophecy is fulfilling that. This is Messiah. This is the sign that he's going to be king of the earth. He is going to raise up the children of hope, which is the children of Jerusalem and Zion, the bloodline. He's going to send them and they're going to destroy the Gentiles. Did I say that? Or did the Bible say that? See, I don't want nobody to blame me. This guy was on the line saying this and that. No. All I'm doing is reading the scriptures. Y'all notice that. All I'm doing is reading the scriptures. The scriptures are telling us these things. I can't take credit for what the Most High gave to his prophets thousands of years ago. For today, praise the Most High. All right, back to John chapter 12, verse 16. Verse 17. The people, therefore, that was with him when he called Lazarus out of his grave and raised him from the dead bear record. For this cause, the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing? Behold, the world is gone after him. They were more concerned with his effect on the people they wanted to control. Did you see that? They were more concerned, the religious leaders, with the effect that Messiah had over the people that they had control of. Again, brethren, what did somebody, I think it was Nietzsche, said, religion is the opiate of the masses? It's true. The devil uses religion to control the minds of the people in those religions. The difference is the Father is not a religion. The Father is the creator. So that if you follow religion, you're going to be molded into the shape of the religion. If you follow the Father, you're going to be molded into the shape that the creator originally intended for you. Do you see the difference? Whether you're being molded by the creator or by man. That is why in the toes of the detached statue of Daniel chapter 2, it said, iron mixed with clay. Iron is the devil's metal, mixed with what the devil molded, but they could not come together. Not for more than an hour. Isn't that something? So the people of the earth have to make a decision. You're going, listen, there are fools out here saying, I ain't worshiping nobody. No, that's not true. If you claim to not worship any deity, You are, in effect, worshiping yourself because you're making yourself the highest order. And you're making decisions based on self. So nobody serves nobody. We're all serving somebody. The question is who you're going to serve. And you have to make a decision because the earth is going to be dominated by somebody that you're going to serve. Right now, it's dominated by the devil. You want to serve him? Okay. Or are you the children of hope? As Zechariah said, that you're connected and you want to remain so with the Creator alone. Therefore, you'll be molded by the Creator into his image. And again, that's what Paul says, that the Messiah is the first fruits of those. What did he? Let me not paraphrase it. It's Romans chapter 8. Let me show you. Romans chapter 8. Okay, there it is. I opened right up to it. This time I didn't have to look. It was right there. Praise the Most High. Romans chapter 8, verse 29. Actually, let me start at verse 28. Verse 28, 29, and 30. Romans chapter 8, verse 28, 29, and 30. We praise the Most High for his word and his spirit. Praise the Most High. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yahweh, to them who are the called, according to his purpose, for whom he did foreknow, there it is, he also did predestinate, because he already knows, to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them also he called. And whom he called, them also he justified. And whom he justified, them also he glorified. Praise the Most High. So, brethren, are we going to be molded by this world and the king of this world? Or are we going to be molded by the future king who belongs to the Father? That's our choice. We have that. The greatest power we have is the power to choose. Choose you this day whom ye will serve. Choose life is the admonition. Choose who you going to serve. Who you going to give yourself to? Yourself, the devil, or the Creator? Everybody has to make a choice. People like to talk out of both sides of their mouth, choosing the devil and claiming to choose the Creator. That's because they're not of the spirit of the Creator, but the spirit of Babylon, which means confusion. Praise the Most High. Back to John chapter 12. John chapter 12. Verse 20. And there were certain Greeks among them. Ooh, Greeks. There were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. Let me stop right here. Look up the word Greeks. Some people will automatically, as I did, assume these were Hellenists. A Hellenist is a Greek-speaking Jew, a person that lived among the Greeks, lived in their culture, and actually was assimilated into their culture, like us. So they call them Hellenists. They were bloodline Hebrews, but they lived like Gentiles. Okay. These, though, if you look up this word, these were not Hellenists. These were Gentiles. And why? Notice again, and there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. Now, the Greeks weren't allowed to go into the temple, but they were there for worship. That's what you call somebody that's doing what? Seeking. They're not coming for curiosity. They are seeking. See, they're seeking. Now, at that moment, they weren't going to be accepted because they were Gentiles, but they're a sign of what's to come. Okay? Because at that time, none of the apostles who believed in Messiah believed that the Gentiles were going to receive salvation. They didn't know Gentiles were going to see salvation until Peter was given this information before he met Cornelius and them. That's when they knew. But before that, they weren't sharing the information with anybody that was not bloodline. Okay. So these Greeks came and they had to be bold because they weren't welcome. They weren't welcome, but they came seeking the Messiah. Praise the Most High. Okay. And what did they say? Of course, verse 21. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see YHWH. That's a seeker right there. Praise the Most High. Okay. Verse 22. Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and again Andrew and Philip tell YHWH. See, they have to whisper among themselves. These uncircumcised coming to see Messiah? Did you hear that? What you think? I don't know, man. They asking for Messiah. Well, look, what are we going to do? I guess you should tell him. Here you go, brethren. Verse 23. YHWH answered them, saying, the hour is come, that the Son of Man should be glorified. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I into this hour. Father, glorify thy name. So how is he glorified? He sacrificed. Remember what he said? I give my life. You don't take it. I give it to you. And then I take it back. So but in that transaction of him giving his life, for that moment, he is separated from his Father. That's what troubled him. See, brethren, a lot of brave people can face death. But it's very difficult to face death if you have no hope. If you have no hope. If you're facing death for a righteous cause, like Malcolm X. Malcolm X knew that there were people trying to kill him. And by all accounts, all of the days leading up to his assassination, he was stressed because he could feel it. He knew they were coming for him. Who exactly it was, he wasn't sure. At some point, he pointed to the CIA. He pointed to the Nation of Islam. He pointed to the New York City Police Department. And guess what? All of them were involved. If you look at the documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X, the brother put it together like nobody ever did. Okay, so Malcolm X, the day that he was murdered, he knew people were coming to kill him. And the people that were there to protect him wanted to check the door to make sure nobody was carrying firearms into the Audubon ballroom. He commanded them, do not check anybody. Let them all in. Knowing very well they were there to kill him. I say, Malcolm X turned the other cheek as only the Messiah would do. I know he was always speaking against, I'm not turning the other cheek. He was talking about fighting against the Gentiles, fighting against the white man. He's not going to turn this. And I believe Messiah meant the same thing. Don't turn the other cheek to no Gentile. Get out of there. But my brothers and sisters, I'm not going to check them. If they want to kill me, let them. And he did. It was a brother from the mosque in Newark, New Jersey, that fired the shotgun blast that killed Malcolm X. That was the perfect example of turning the other cheek. See? Messiah, when he said, let them have this, don't fight them back. He's talking about you with your brothers. He's not talking about you with the Romans. That's what people get messed up. Malcolm X took it to the Gandhi level. Gandhi wasn't no Hebrew. Gandhi hated Hebrews. That's where Christianity goes into philosophy. Malcolm X said, we're not turning no other cheek. You mess with us, you catching problems. So you better listen to what this man is asking for and give it to him. Talking about Martin Luther King, because if you don't give him what he wants, we'll have to do it another way. You don't want to go the other way. But Malcolm X did not carry no gats with him until after he separated from the Nation of Islam. Then he started carrying the gat with him. But at the end of the day, he wasn't going to shoot his own cousins. He just wasn't going to do it. He let them kill him. You understand? So, brethren, we the same way. That's all I'm saying. We're not trying our best to go kill white folks. But don't come rolling up my house in the middle of the night and thinking I'm just going to roll over. No. Don't do that. Emmett Till's dead already. Ain't no more Emmett Tills. You hear what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to kill my own brothers, my own sisters. That's terrible. You know, it's like in the movie Boys in the Hood. Remember that? The man was robbing in the beginning of the movie. He robbing homie's house. Homie had the Magnum with him, right? He pulled out the Magnum. He was going for the jugular on homie. Blew a hole in the front door. Homie left so fast, ran out of his sneakers. So he came outside. Remember, he's sitting on the porch with his son. And he said, man, somebody was praying for that brother. He said, because I dead sure thought I had him. And the boy said, you should have shot him. And he said, no, because then I'll be just contributing to killing another brother. And that's our dilemma. This society of Babylon has treated us like animals, has bred us like animals, and then now we manifest the activity of animals. We are royalty, but we act sometimes like animals, which is part of the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus 27 or 26. So sometimes we act like animals, but we got to protect ourselves. I mean, after all, we want to come back home to our families, right? So, but we rather not have to kill our cousins. You'd rather not. Exactly. You don't want to come walking up on my yard. We got medicine for that stuff. There's 12 gauge ways. There's 44 formula ways. As Biggie said, there's 357 ways. The similar saute. We'd rather not have to go that way. We'd rather not. You know, killing a human being, I've never done it, but I'm sure it would change me. So we'd rather not have to go through that experience. You hear? But don't be threatening my household, acting like I'm going to just turn the other cheek. You might catch something in your cheek. But anyway, this was like Malcolm. Malcolm followed Messiah. I don't know if he realized that, but he did. He turned the other cheek and let them kill him. Messiah is doing the same thing, but Messiah is troubled because in this sense, his own cousins are going to turn him over to the Gentiles. At the same time, because he's the sacrifice for sin, he became sin for us. And in becoming sin, that's why he hollered, Father, why have you forsaken me? Because the Father turned his face from his son so that we could be saved. And that's what made him troubled. My soul is troubled. And in doing that, the Father, in sending his only begotten son and sacrificing him he didn't just sacrifice him for the whole world, y'all, because the whole world ain't going to be saved. He sacrificed for who he already knew and predestined was his people. And he did sacrifice his son. So the Father glorifies his name in finding a way through his son to redeem us. And I mean redeem us, get us from being animals to becoming citizens of an eternal kingdom. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. So he glorifies his name. And again, let us never forget, brethren, the whole thing, the whole gospels, all of this is for the glorification of the Heavenly Father. Yes, Messiah getting glorified, for sure. The Father made sure of that. But the object is the glorification of the Father. Just like the number one object of that salvation is to the bloodline of Jacob. Not that he's not going to save non-bloodline. We already know that he will. But it's to the Jew first. So the glorification of the Father is in the salvation of Israel. When he told Ezekiel, these bones are the whole house of Israel. These bones are the whole house of Israel. And later in that same chapter, I'm going to raise up David. I'm going to bring back Ephraim. I'm going to bring Judah and Ephraim together into one stick. And we're going to have one kingdom. And David's going to sit on that throne. That's the glorification of the Father. Praise the Most High. Okay. Verse 28. Father, glorify thy name. Then there came a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people, therefore, that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said, an angel spake to him. Verse 30. YHWH answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This, he said, signifying what death he should die. At that time, one of the common ways we put to death by the Romans is through crucifixion. One of the common ways Romans could come up with some sadistic ways to kill people. And Gentiles still come up with sadistic ways to kill people. But I want you to understand, where were they? They were in Israel. So who was the voice manifest to? And who are the only people in the planet's history that heard the voice of the Father as a people? He said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. So there's only one people, as the Bible also showed us, that the Father has manifest himself to. You only, he said, have I known of all the families of the earth. Again, the Gentiles not going to be liking this because they've been brainwashed into this Christian belief that they are the chosen ones, which is really a joke. But that's why they'll get upset. How dare you judge us like that? That's right. It's okay. The true people are the repentant ones that come to truth. The truth is the so-called former slaves are the children of Israel. The truth is those former slaves that got the melanin, those are the only people he's ever showed himself to. The truth is those are the only people that ever heard his voice. And here's another one. They're the only people that ever will. Them and those called with them, like Cornelius. The angel said, your prayers have come up as alms before the Most High. Go get Peter, and he's going to tell you what you need to do. So it's people like Cornelius who want to serve the Father and understand the true children of Israel, as Cornelius did, and the true children of Israel. Praise the Most High. So that's what we got. Praise the Most High. And again, we can't concern ourselves, trying my best to spoon feed those Gentiles that may be listening and ain't come to this truth yet, because we're trying to help you. It may sound hard, but we're trying to help you because you ain't got but less than 7 years left. That's all you got. And your generation is like ours. You're the last generation, just like we are. Only question is, whose side you going to be on? May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, family. Until we meet again.